Good morning, class. Topic for the day is phrases. First of all, it is very much necessary for us to understand what is a phrase. Phrases are group of words which we can say a kind of saying. Traditionally, we are using them from long back time, and now we use them just to improve, just to decorate our language. So these are the phrases, and there are certain phrases in the English language which we use time to time, and they have the different meaning from the meaning of the particular own word. They are carrying a very different particular meaning. So first of all, we have certain phrases here. First of all, what is the phrase number 1 for the day? It is set up. Now, what do we mean by this phrase? Set up means when you make some arrangements for something. The meaning for this phrasal verb is to make the arrangements of something. And when we use these phrases in a sentence, we do not use the particular meaning. We use these phrases verb to make the sentence. Fine. Next phrasal verb is upset. Upset means when you are not in a good mood. Now here we do not have the particular meaning for the word. For example, up is having some different meaning and set is having some different meaning. These two words are carrying different meanings, but the meaning of this word, these two words, combination of two words is very much different, which the meaning is when you are in not a good mood, when you are not happy. Now third phrasal verb for the day is look up. Now this phrasal verb, it does not mean that you are looking up in the sky. Look up means when you try to improve something, when you try to do some alteration in something, or when you are waiting for something. I am looking up for the meeting, when you are waiting for something or when you are improving something. Fine, students. Next is call off. Now this phrasal verb means when you end something, when you try to end something, at that time you use this phrasal verb call off. He called off the meeting. Now one thing is there which you have to keep in mind while using these phrasal verbs, and that is you can use the second form and you can use the third form as well of these phrasal verbs according to the tense, which tense you are using. As I have used the example, he called off the meeting. Here I have used past tense and here I have used the second form of the main verb, that is call. He called off the meeting. Fine, students. Next is call out. Call out means when you try to identify something, or when you are calling someone's name, you can use this phrasal verb call out. He was calling out his name. He was trying to catch him from the crowd. So you can use this phrasal verb call out. Next phrasal verb is come across. Now this phrasal verb, when you meet someone accidentally, or when you meet someone, or when something comes in front of your eyes, all of a sudden you can use this phrasal verb come across. He came across my way suddenly. So you can use this phrasal verb like this. Next is set right. Now this phrasal verb means when you tend to begin something, when you have to start with something. Maybe you have to start with the journey. At that time you can use this phrasal verb, you can use this phrase. You have to set right your journey, you have to fall it into the right place. Okay, students. Next is look after. Now again the same thing, here we have two words. Phrasal verbs are basically made up of two words. and they do not have particular meaning of those particular words. For example, as I have explained you earlier also, here this look means to see, to make an eye contact with something, and after means behind something. So we do not have to go to the literal meaning of these two words. Here these two words are carrying some different meaning, and what is the meaning of these two words? To take care. Phrasal verb look after means to take care. When you take care of something, you can use this phrasal verb. For example, he is looking after his mother. It means he is taking care of his mother. Next is instead of. Now instead of means when you do something without, or when you are avoiding something in your work, you can use phrasal verb instead of. Fine. He went to the market instead of attending the class. Fine. So this is the usage of phrasal verb instead of. Next is in spite of. In spite of means at the place of. So where you are replacing something with some other thing, you can use this phrasal verb in spite of. So there are so many examples of phrasal verbs which we can use in our day-to-day lives, and by using them we can improve our language, our spoken skills, and which enhances your vocabulary also, and it enriches your spoken. So you should try, one should try to use these phrasal verb in the speaking when he is trying to speak. So I hope you will learn and you will continue with this exercise of phrasal verbs. Thank you, class. Good morning, class. Topic for today's class is idioms. Now what are idioms? It is very much necessary for us to know before using idioms. Well, there are certain things in English language, idioms, phrases, proverbs. They all are basically some kind of saying which we use. They are not the meaning of the idioms and phrases and proverbs. They are not the literal meaning of an individual word. The meaning is very much different. They carry some different meaning, some particular meaning, and we use these idioms in our day-to-day life just to improve or just to decorate our language. So this is the definition of an idiom, and what is the first idiom for the day? It is break down. Now what does it mean, break down? Break down means, basically we use this idiom when we are talking about a vehicle, and when it ceases, when it stops working, it stops functioning, we use this idiom break down. My car broke down on the way. It means that my car ceased, it stopped working on the way. So particularly this idiom is meant for the vehicles, when we talk about the vehicles. Next is stand up for. Now this idiom is carrying the meaning when you are talking in favor of something, when you are speaking or you're acting in favor of something. He stood up for the new minister. It means that he is favoring the new minister. When you are in favor or you're speaking in favor of something, it means that you're standing up for something. Fine, students. Next is turn down. Now this idiom is carrying the meaning when there is a decline of something. The company is turning down. It means that the company is coming to a decline. So you can use this idiom when you want to show that there is a decline of something. Okay, students. Now next idiom is pass away. Pass away means when someone dies. So if you want to show that someone is dead, if you're talking about someone who is dead, you can use this idiom. He passed away 5 years back. You are talking about his death. So you can use idiom pass away when you are talking about somebody's death. Now here, while using idioms, again one thing we have to keep in our mind, and that is we can use idioms according to the tense. If you are using past continuous, present continuous, then you have to use accordingly. If you are using past indefinite, then you have to use it accordingly. Fine, students. Next is carry out. Now this idiom is carrying the meaning when you remember something, when you go back to your memories and you remember about something, then you can use this idiom carry out. He was carried out about he was carried about by his past when he was a student. So we can use this idiom when you think about your past memories. Next is done for. When you have completed something, or when you have done something, when you have finished something, at that time you can use this idiom done for. He was done for the day. I mean, what is the meaning of this sentence? He was done whatever his regular works was for the day, maybe his office or his other works. So he was done for the day. His day was complete. His day was finished. Fine, students. Next is go through. This idiom means that when you are talking about your experiences, whatever the situations you are facing, you can use this idiom. He is going through a severe headache. Here we are talking about some suffering, the situation he is facing. So what kind of situation he is facing right now? He is facing a situation that he is having a very severe headache. And your experiences also, he is going through a very financial crisis. He is going through financial crisis. So here again we can use this idiom. So when you talk about the experiences you are going through, or you have faced, or the situations you are into, you can use this idiom go through. Fine, students. So these were the idioms which we can use, and there are so many idioms in English language which we can use in our day-to-day life to make our language very much impressive, to make our language very much beautiful. Thank you, class. Good morning, class. Today's topic for the class is précis writing. What is the meaning of précis? Précis, it is a word taken from the French language which means to cut short, and in English we mean by précis is that a kind of summary, a kind of abstract, and a very concise statement. So and the meaning in a précis, it is very much distinct and clear and definite, and it gives the main idea of an article. Whatever the article we are having, we have to write down a précis, we have to write down a summary of an article, and it conveys, précis conveys the main idea of the article. So first of all, very much necessary for us to know what was the requirement, what is the necessity to write down a précis. Well, generally there are people who do not have time to go through the whole article, to go through the complete article. So just to save the time of people, we have invented précis, where we include only main topics, only main points which are there in some article, and by going through the main points of the main article in a précis, we can have the idea what the main article is talking about. So this is the necessity of the précis writing, and let's have a look at the qualities of an ideal précis. What are the main points to write down the précis? First of all, brevity and clarity. A précis should be very much brief in its ideas. Brief means where we can explain some article, some paragraph in very short form, but you have to explain it very clearly in 4 to 5 lines or 2 to 3 lines. So this is called brevity, and clarity means whatever you're explaining, your ideas, your thoughts should be very much clear, whatever you are writing there. So a précis should be very much brief and very much clear in its thoughts. Second thing is simplicity. A précis should be very much simple in terms of the language, in terms of the writing style, whatever you are adopting the writing style. So simplicity should be there. There is no need of using any kind of idioms, proverbs, phrases just to decorate. If you think that by using proverbs, idioms or phrases or things like that you can decorate the language of your writing, it is not the case here. Your language should be very much simple when you are writing a précis. You should talk just point to point when you are writing a précis. Third thing is language. Language should be very much clear. It should be very much lucid. Your diction should be very much good. Diction means the selection of the words. Whatever the words you are selecting while writing a précis, it should be very much clear. Third thing is coherence. Coherence means it should be related to the whatever you're writing in the précis, it should be very much related to the main topic. Whatever the main article is, it should be very much directly related to that. So these are the 4 qualities of a précis writing. How to write down, what are the qualities of a précis. Now let's have a look how to write down a précis. First of all, well, there are certain things which we have to keep in our mind while writing a précis. How to write down a précis. First of all, we have to read the passage carefully. Whatever the article is given to us, we have to read the passage very much carefully, and then after going through the main article, underline the main points, whatever you find suitable, that it may be the important information. For example, if we talk about the establishment of some kind of empire or some kind of revolution, so you can underline that this is the main date or main place. So you have to underline the main points there and then find the suitable title. After doing this thing, after going through the complete paragraph, after underlining the main points, you have to find out, you have to select a suitable title for the précis, for your article, for your new article. And the third thing is, now you have to write down a rough draft. After doing this, after underlining all these information, after collecting the information, you have to write down a rough draft. Don't start it with the in a fair copy. There is no need to write down it in a fair copy. Then you can write it down first of all very roughly, that these are the things which we have to include in our précis. Now after collecting the information at a place, what you can do, you can frame those information, you can put those information in a proper sequence, so that the meaning is very much clear, so that the paragraph or the article could convey the meaning properly in a very proper sequence. So this is the way to write down a précis. Now there are certain don'ts, the things which we have to keep in our mind while writing a précis, things which we do not have to do while writing down a précis. And what are those? Let's talk about them. First of all, we have to be very much careful about the length. Well, précis, as I have told you, that précis is something which is very much in a concise form. It is an abstract, a summary. So we do not have to expend the length of the article. We have to be very much strict. We have to restrict ourselves in terms of length of the paragraph. Second thing is that we do not have to use any kind of abbreviation or symbol while writing the précis. We just have to write down, we just have to jot down the main points. We do not have to use any kind of abbreviation there when we are writing a précis. Third thing is that we do not have to give example. If certain things are there which we have to explain with the help of example, there is no need to give or to jot down the examples in a précis. You can directly start with the statement. Third thing is that we do not have to make paragraph. When we are writing in composition, in English, when we are writing something, we have to make paragraphs. But here in précis, we do not have to make paragraph. We are free here, we are not bound here to make any kind of paragraph, because we have to write down, we have to cut short an article in 4 to 5 lines, and in 4 to 5 lines we cannot make a paragraph. So there is no need to make any kind of paragraph. You are free here to write down an article in simple 4 to 5 lines. Third thing is that, next thing is that you do not have to begin your article, your paragraph with such words, as the writer is saying or according to me. You do not have to do like this. You are not supposed to use words like this, that according to me or the writer is saying. So you can start it directly. There is no need to quote any writer's name or something like that. And again, one more important thing, that do not add any information on your own, because here what we are doing, we are concentrating on the length, to cut short the length of the article. So we do not have to include any kind of extra information, because if such kind of information, if we will provide there, it will increase the length of the paragraph. And what we have to do here, we have to cut short the length of the paragraph. So there is no need to add any information on your own. Fine, students. So next thing is that again, that we do not have to explain any kind of difficult words. If you will add difficult words there, again you have to explain the meaning of those words. So your language should be very much clear, selection of the words should be very much clear, simple, lucid, and the paragraphs lines should be just, you have to restrict yourself to 4 to 5 lines. So these are the things which we have to keep in our mind while writing a précis, and I hope you will do the exercise and you will learn by these points, you will learn how to write down a précis. Thank you, class. Good morning, class. Today's topic is essay writing. Here we will learn how to write down an essay. First of all, we will understand what is the meaning of an essay. Well, essay is a literary composition, and it may be an article, and you can describe some narration there, some event, or your ideas in an essay. And it could be the person's view as an individual, or it could be the views of a group in an essay. Now there are so many types of essays, and we will learn how to write down what is the differentiation. First of all, we will understand what is the differentiation of these essays, classification of essays, and then we learn how to write down an essay. Now first of all, there is reflective essay. Classification of essays. First number is reflective. Reflective essay means where you reflect your ideas, where you reflect your thoughts as a writer. For example, if you notice something, if you observe something in the society and you want to write down something, according to me, what did I notice? Or if you want to raise your voice, or you want to bring something into the light, then you can write down an essay. And what do we call these kind of essays? Reflective essays, which reflect your thoughts, your ideas, your views on a particular topic. Next essay is imaginative essay. Now, imaginative essay means where you think, you imagine the things totally, and they are based on your mere imagination. For example, what if I were the Prime Minister of the country? So this is an imagination, and when you think, you imagine the things and you write down the essay, it is called an imaginative essay. Third thing is narrative essay. Narrative means narration. Narration means when you speak something, when you describe something, and narration could be of so many things. Maybe you have gone to some event, you are explaining the event, or maybe it is you're writing about the life of some famous personality. Again, you are narrating the things in your own words. So narrative essay means when you are explaining the things in your own words. It may be an event, it may be a journey, it may be someone's life. Third thing is descriptive. Not third thing, fourth thing is descriptive. Descriptive essay means where you describe, description of some place, you have been to some place, you are describing something, or you are explaining some particular topic, you have some problem and you are talking about that problem. It is called descriptive essay, where you have the description of particular things. And the fifth thing is expository essay. Expository means where you talk about some particular topics, maybe scientific problem, maybe related to some animal, place or thing, you call it expository essay. So these are the classifications of essay. These are the 5 kinds of essay, and we can write down in these 5 categories. Now we will have a look how to write down an essay, what are the things which we have to keep in our mind while writing an essay. So first of all, what is the plan to write down an essay? That we have to collect the information. For a student, it is very much necessary to gather the information at a place. You collect the information, plan them accordingly in a sequence, in a proper sequence, and then make them and write them in a proper arrangement. So this is the thing, that first of all you have to have the proper information about some particular thing. For example, if you are writing an essay about some historical place, so you have to collect all the information about the place, and then you have to collect all the information about the places related to, events related to that particular place, and then you have to write down those informations in a sequence. So 3 things are there. First is the plan of essay. First of all, collection. Second is selection, and the third thing is you have to arrange the things in a proper way. Arrangement. Arrangement. You have to arrange the things in a very proper way. So these are the things, these are the points which we have to keep in our mind while writing an essay. Collect the information, then if there is some abrupt information with you, then you have to select the important information and then arrange those information in a very proper sequence. Fine, students. Now next thing is that of how to write. We have, up till now we have selected all the material what we have to write down, but now we will have a look how to write down these information, how to write down these information whatever we have collected up till now. So this is, now we will discuss about the structure of the essay. What is the structure of an essay? The structure of essay. First thing is introduction. Second thing is body. And third thing is conclusion. Now, these are the three important aspects of an essay. First of all is the introduction. When we have collected the information, we have the information of particular topic, then we have to arrange it, and the most important thing here is that we write down an essay in the form of paragraphs. Now, the foremost important paragraph is about introduction. So here in this part, we will talk about the introduction of some particular topic, whatever you have selected to write on, and then there comes the body of the essay, the complete. It is the soul, we can call it is the soul of the essay, because whatever you're talking, whatever you're discussing in your article is the body of the essay. Whatever you are trying to convey will be here in this second paragraph, and you can change the paragraphs, you can add on the paragraphs. It may be 2, it may be 3, it depends on the length of your essay. Now, last is conclusion. Conclusion is the last paragraph of the essay where you conclude, where you sum up your article while giving some kind of information, while coming to a conclusion, whether the essay was some kind of informative or what kind of experience you had. You can include these things here in the conclusion. So these are the important aspects of an essay, and I hope you will follow these kind of exercise, and you will write down the essay while using these points in the mind. Thank you, class. Good morning, class. Topic for today's class is modal verb. First of all, we will understand what do you mean by modal verb. Modal verbs are the verbs which are used in a sentence to show the expressions like anger, your request, order, command, suggestion, and more like that. If you are expressing your moods, basically modal verb expresses the mood of the speaker. So when we get to know about the mood of a speaker, if a speaker is giving us a command, if he is requesting, or if he is suggesting something, then we use at that time modal verb, and because they are expressing the mood, that is why we call them modal verb. They are for example, can, could, may, might, will, shall, would, ought to, used to, and we have certain parameters to use these modal verbs, where to use modal verb can, where to use modal verb should, where to use modal verb will, shall, ought to, used to. So here we will learn all the rules where to use these modal verbs. Now, first of all, this is very much important for us to know that what are the rules to use these modal verbs in a sentence. There are certain things which we have to keep in our mind while using modal verbs in a sentence. That is, first important thing, that we always use a modal verb with the main verb. There should be a main verb in the sentence when you are using modal verb. Construction should be like this: subject plus modal verb plus main verb and then object. Okay, students. Next thing is that we do not use main verb plus ing. If we are using modal verb in a sentence, then we do not use it like that, main verb first form plus ing. And another thing is that we do not use s or es with the first form of the verb, or don't. Fine, students. We do not use to after the modal verb. Dare not, need not, we do not use to when we are talking about a negative sentence. Need not and dare not, these are two modal verbs, and we do not use to immediate after these modal verbs in a sentence. Okay, students. So first of all, we will talk about the modal verb can, and we will see what are the conditions, what are the usages for modal verb can. First of all, the first usage for this is permission. When we take a permission, we can use modal verb can. Second thing is capability. When we show our capability, then we can use modal verb can. Third thing is request. When we talk about request, when we take some request, or when we ask for a request, when we are requesting from someone, at that time we can use modal verb can. And one more thing, possibility. If there is a possibility of something, then we use modal verb can. For example, can I come in? This is the example for permission. You are taking a permission to come in. So it does not show that you are taking this permission from your senior or your elder or your junior. If you are taking the permission from your junior or a person who is equal to your age, then we can use at that time modal verb can. Next is capability. It shows that you are capable of doing something. I can drive car. So it is my capability that I can drive a car. Fine, students. And request, can you do me a favor? Question mark. And possibility, it can rain today. So these are the examples and these are the conditions where we can use modal verb can. Now another modal verb is could, and we will see here what are the usages for modal verb could and where do we use it, and basically what it is about. Well, could is the past tense of can. It is the past of can. Past of can. Okay, students. So first important usage, where the condition where we can use could is a very humble request. A very humble request. If you are taking a request, if you are asking for a request from your elder, then you can use this modal verb could. Now another usage of this is some ability in the past time. Capability which you had in the past time. Now example for this, could you give me a glass of water? Question mark. And capability in the past, if you were capable of doing something in your past but now you are not, then you can use at that time modal verb could. For example, I could fly kites when I was a child. So this is something your past ability which you had in you, in your personality when you were a kid. So these are the usages for using modal verb could. Now our next modal verb is may. What are the usages for using modal verb may? Let's see here. Well, basic usage for using modal verb may is a purpose Second is a wish or hope. Third thing is request. A very polite request again. Okay, students. So these are the usage for modal verb may. Now what can be the examples here for this? Purpose, work hard. So that you may pass the exam. Wish or hope, may God bless you. Request, may I come in, or may I borrow this? Borrow your pen. Fine, students. So this was the usage for using modal verb may. Now let's have a look at the another modal verb, and that is might. Well, again, might is the past of may, and how we can use might in a sentence. Might, first is again purpose, and second is future possibility. If you have some future possibility, at that time we can use might. And if in direct speech may is used, at that time, while converting that into indirect speech, we can use modal verb might. Indirect speech. Okay, students. So this was the condition. This is the condition to use modal verb might. And what is the example for purpose? He died so that others might live. So there is a purpose behind, and here we are showing a purpose. That is why we have used modal verb might here. And future possibility, we might score first position. And the example for indirect speech is Shefali asked me if she might borrow the book. So this is the indirect speech, and while converting may into indirect speech, we have used might here. Fine, students. So next is a request. One more usage for might is request. If you are talking about request, then again we can use modal verb might. He might do me a favor. You might do me a favor. So this was the usage for modal verb might. Now let's have a look at our next modal verb, and that is will, shall. Well, will, shall are basically used for the future tense to show, to denote the future time, things which are supposed to come in future. Will and shall. First of all, promise, to show some kind of promise. Second is future tense. Third is certainty. Example for promise is, he will take us to the picnic on Sunday. So this is the promise, this is a kind of commitment that he is going to take us on a picnic this Sunday. Next is future tense. He will come next Monday. This is a simple future tense where we are trying to show just a future tense. Next is certainty, where you find such kind of certainty in a sentence. I'll give you a book. Now here we are not certain, so that is why we have used modal verb will. Okay, students. And for shall in modal verb shall we can use the advice, if we are giving some kind of advice to someone, if we are asking for some kind of request, where shall I put this? So this is a request, you are taking some request, you are asking for a request. Here we can use modal verb shall. Now next is modal verb would. Well, would is the again past of will, but the usages are a bit different from will, from that too of will. What are the usages for will? Let's have a look here. First of all, would is the past of will, and here what we will do, we will write down for request, a very humble and polite request. Second thing is preference. Preference, if you are preferring for something, then you can use modal verb this. For example, I would rather go. So here you are making a choice. You have some option and you are picking up one of the options, and now you are making a choice that you would like to leave from that place. You do not want to stay there. And one more usage for request is here we can use he would ask for, he would ask to come. Okay, students. And another is some imaginary situation. If there is some kind of imaginative condition, at that time you can use modal verb would. For example, if I were a bird, I would fly. So this is the usage, this is the condition where we can use modal verb would. Now next modal is must. Now must is a very famous modal verb which is known as a very compulsion. When we are using this, we know that all of us are aware of this, that must is a modal verb, but where to use must? It is very much important to know that where to use must, what are the usages for must. First of all, when you have some kind of necessity, at that time we can use modal verb must. Second thing is duty. If you have some duty, at that time you can use modal verb must. Necessity, example for necessity, you must sleep early. And duty, we must pay our taxes in time. Okay students, so these were the usages for modal verb must. Now our next modal verb is need not. Well, need not is a negative word. It shows, because not is here, so it shows a negation, that there is some kind of a negation. So at the sentences where we find that you have to use a negative term, and if it is the appropriate place to use the modal verb need, at that time we can use modal verb need not. But one thing which we have to keep in our mind is that we do not have to use to after, immediate after need not. Okay students, so example could be need not, you need not go to school today because it is a holiday. Okay students, now this another modal verb, dare not. Dare means courage of something. Again we do not use to immediate after using dare, modal verb dare. Ashok dare not ask my address. Okay students, so this is the another modal verb dare not, and as I have used it, I didn't use here to immediate after not, and I have used only main verb ask. I didn't use s or es here. So when you are using modal verbs, there is no need to do any kind of alteration with the main verb. We do the alteration with modal verb the way we want to. If it is a past tense, we use could to show the past ability. If we are using would, again it is the past tense. Okay, we do not use ing with the force form. Fine students, I have explained it earlier also, but you have to keep this thing in your mind while using modal verbs. Now our next modal verb is ought to. Now ought to means again something which you want to do or which you have to do. Fine. First important so students, our next modal verb is ought to. Now where to use this modal verb? There are certain conditions to use this modal verb. First is, if you have some work, if you have left some work in the past time, left some work in the past time, and still it is incomplete. At certain kind of situations, we use modal verb ought to. For example, you ought to have returned the books to the library in time. So this is a work which was incomplete and which was not done in the past time and which is still there to be done. So in certain kind of conditions we use modal verb ought to. Another usage for ought to is probability. Probability means when you have some kind of probabilities, it may be and it not may be. At certain kind of situations we use modal verb ought to. He ought to be a good player. So this is the condition to use modal verb ought to. Our next modal verb is used to. Well, used to is basically used to show a habit which was there in the past, but now it is not there. You do not carry on or you do not continue with the same habit in the present time. So the basic usage for used to is some habit in the past. Used to, habit in the past. For example, he used to be a good student. Fine, students. So he was a good student, but he is not a good student now. So here we are using this modal verb to show some habit which was there in the past time and we are not carrying on with the same habit. So these were the modal verbs and I have shown you the examples. I have shown you how to use these modal verbs, what are the conditions and where we can use them, where we can imply them. So I hope you all will do the practice and exercises with the help of this lecture, and I hope that you will learn modal verbs, how to use modal verbs and how to differentiate in between the different modes. Thank you, class. Good morning, class. So today's topic is tense. Well, what do we mean by tense? Tense is an expression in the language which tells us about the time. Time, we can divide this time into three parts. Those three parts are present time, past time, and one more, future time. Okay, students, so there is a division of tense in three parts as I have done it here: present, past and future. Now again we will divide it into four parts. These three parts will be divided in four parts again. And what will be the division? First is indefinite. The same division will go with the rest of this two also. Next is continuous. Third is perfect. And fourth one is perfect continuous. So the same division will be here. Present indefinite, we will read it like this: present indefinite, present continuous, present perfect continuous. Next will be past indefinite, past continuous, past perfect continuous. Third one will be future, future indefinite, future continuous, future perfect and future perfect continuous. So let's begin with the number one tense, tense number 1, and that is present indefinite. So what are the basic rules to make a tense? We will learn here, and I hope you will try and you will use them in your day-to-day life, because tenses are the basics to start with your spoken English, because until and unless you know the division of present, past and future, you are not able, you cannot speak in English. So this is the very basic exercise to learn how to speak in English. Once you are done with this thing, you can try it at your own how to speak in English. So our first tense is present indefinite. Well, first of all, we will translate sentences from Hindi to English. So what is the identification of present indefinite tense? Identification. Whenever in a sentence in Hindi, if you see ta, te, ti, which tense is this? This is present indefinite tense. Okay? And what are the main verbs used here? Main verb is always used first form of the verb. Okay, students? And helping verb? Do. Okay, students? And one more thing we use here, S or ES. Well, we cannot call these S or ES. Well, I will write it here, because we use S or ES with main verb. Okay, students? So, and where do we use S or ES? With, I am writing it like this, S or ES is used with he, she, it, this, that, someone's name, singular person, singular number, or third person. Now you understand what is the third person? There are three persons in English grammar: first person, second person and third person. First person and second person, well, it is basically divided on the rules of the conversation. Two persons are involving in a conversation, then there are two persons. For example, I am talking to you right now, so I am speaking here. I am the first person, and you are listening to me, students are listening to me, so they are the second person. Now you have got the meaning of first person and second person. Now let's talk about the third person. For example, if we are talking about the third person who is not present here in the class, he will be the third person. For example, Mohan is absent today, so I am talking to you about Mohan, and Mohan is not present here in between us, so Mohan will be the third person. So we use S or ES while translating a sentence into English. We use S or ES with he, she, this, that, or someone's name, or third person singular number. Fine, students? So, and the sentence construction is like this: subject plus main verb plus object. Okay, student? So the translation, how to translate it in English, let's have a look at it. For example, there is a sentence in Hindi, मैं खाना खाती हूँ. Now here it is ti at the end of the sentence. Now which tense is this? This is present indefinite tense. And which person is here? I am talking about me. So this is first person. I am first person. I eat. Khana, food. I eat food. It would be like this. Now here we haven't used S or ES with verb because this is the first person. Now I am giving you another example where we can use S or ES with the main verb. वह बाजार जाता है. So वह क्या हो गया? What is वह here? वह is he. He goes because this is the third person. He is not present here. Okay. So this is third person. So we will put ES. This ES with the main verb. He goes to the market. Full stop. This is present indefinite tense. Now if we want to make a negative out of it, then how we will make a negative? He does not go to the market. This is the negative construction. Negative. And now if we want to make an interrogative, interrogative means when we have to ask a question. Interrogative. Does will be at the first position. Does he? Now because we have used ES with do, here we have removed ES from the main verb. Okay students, so we do not use S or ES twice in a sentence, we use it just once. So we have used it here. So in the interrogative we will put does at the first position. Does he go to the market? Question mark. It is very much necessary for us to put a question mark after a question, right students? So this is the construction of present indefinite tense. Now let's come to the next tense, and that is present continuous. Continuous means some work which is in the progress. You are continuously doing the work and it is going on and on and on. So present continuous. Now what is the identification of this? How to recognize? At the end of a sentence in Hindi we find रहा है, रही है and रहे हैं. What is the main verb here? First form. In continuous, always we used first form plus ing. First form plus ing. Helping verb would be is, am, are. Now we use these is, am, are. Accordingly we use is with singular person, am with I, and are with plural and you. Now what is the usage? How can we translate a sentence in English? For example, मैं पढ़ा रही हूँ. The work is going on. मैं पढ़ा रही हूँ. So I am the first person. I am teaching. Okay students, so this is present continuous. How to make a negative out of it? I am not teaching. And interrogative, this is negative. Interrogative. We will take this helping verb and we will put it at the first position of the sentence. Am I teaching? This is the way to make an interrogative sentence. Okay, to pick the helping verb from its place and to put it at the first position of the sentence. Am I teaching? Question mark. This is an interrogative sentence. Okay students, I hope it is clear to you how to make present continuous tense. Now let's talk about the next tense, which is present perfect tense. Well, present perfect tense means where it shows that work has been done. Present perfect. What is the identification? In Hindi we find चुका है, चुकी है and चुके हैं. Now what is the main verb used here? Main verb is third form. Everywhere, wherever it is perfect, we use third form of the verb. And helping verb has or have. Now example, वह जा चुका है. How to translate it in English? He, helping verb, he, with he we will use has, because with the singular number and third person we use has, and with the rest of the subjects we use have. He has. What is the third form of go? Go, went, gone. He has gone. So this is past perfect tense. And how to make a negative? He has not gone. And how to make an interrogative? Again we will pick this helping verb from here and we will put it at the first place of the sentence. Has he gone? Question mark. Okay students, so this is present perfect, and next tenses we will continue in the next class. Thank you. Good morning class. So topic for today's class is tense, and we are going to study present perfect continuous. Well, in this tense, when we find in Hindi sentence, the identification for this tense is in Hindi से रहा है, से रही है and से रहे हैं. Now main verb, because this is continuous, we use always first form plus ing. And helping verb, have been, has been and have been. And we use these two terms accordingly. Accordingly, singular number third person and plural. Fine, with singular number third person we use has been, and with plural we use have been. And one more thing, we use since and for. With certain point of time, we use since in the sentence. For example, Monday. For example, January. This is the particular point of time, and when there is some period of time, for example, 2 hours, 3 years, we use for. So this is the rule, these are the rules to make present perfect continuous. Now let's have a look at the example for this present perfect continuous. Well, here if some work is going on, if some work has been completed in the past time and it is still going on, in certain situations we use present perfect continuous. For example, वह 4 साल से दिल्ली रह रहा है. Now here this is the work which has been done, which has been completed in the past time, and now it is still in the progress. So this is present perfect continuous. Now how to translate it into the English? He has been living in Delhi for 4 years. Now here we have put for because this is a particular point of time, period of time. Okay students, so this was our present tense. Now we'll study past tense. Past means the time which has gone, and here in past tense, first of all, past indefinite. This is the first tense, past indefinite of past tense, and main verb. First of all, identification. In Hindi sentences, you find ya, ye, ye. For example, वह गया. Now what is the main verb used here? Main verb, only this is the tense where we use second form of the verb, and helping verb is did. The construction of the sentence would be वह, he. What will be the second form of go? Went. He went. This is the affirmative. And how to make negative out of it? Negative construction. He did not go. Now in a sentence only once we can use the second form of the verb, and did is the second form of do. That is why we have used go here. Go is the first form of went. So did, when did will come here, it will become first form. Okay students, interrogative. How to make interrogative? Did, we will put helping verb at the first place. Did he go? Question mark. So this was past indefinite, and now next tense is continuous. Let's talk about continuous. Past continuous tense. Now past continuous, what is the identification? Identification for this tense is, in Hindi we find रहा था, रही थी and रहे थे. Now helping verb here would be, because this is continuous, was or were with singular number. Third person we will use was, and with the plural, and first person with second person we will use were. Okay students, with plural. And main verb, first form plus ing. Now what would be the construction of the sentence? वह सो रहा था. He, helping verb, was. What is the main verb? Sleep. So what is the main verb? How to use main verb? First form plus ing. See, sleep plus ing. He was sleeping. So this is past continuous. How to make negative out of it? Negative construction. He was not sleeping. And interrogative. Again we will put this helping verb at the first position of the sentence. Was he sleeping? Question mark. So this was past continuous. Now let's talk about past perfect, the next tense. Past perfect means the work which has been completed in the past time. Past perfect. Now what is the identification in Hindi for this tense? चुका था, चुकी थी and चुके थे. Now there are two patterns to construct this tense, and how to construct this we will get to know it here. First of all, helping verb, it is had, and main verb with had and have, has we always use third form of the verb. Third form we will use here. Okay students, now sentence construction is वह जा चुका था. He, helping verb had, third form for go is gone. He had gone. This is the pattern number 1. Now pattern number 2 is, it is a conditional kind of sentence where one work is dependent on the another work. For example, the train had gone before we reached. So two works are here and two tenses you can see here in this sentence. One is past perfect and another is past indefinite. So this is the way to construct past perfect tense. This is the pattern number 1, he had gone, the simple way, and the second one, the train had gone before we reached. Two works are going on at a time. So this was past perfect. Next is past perfect continuous. Now what is the identification for past perfect continuous? Identification in Hindi we can see से रहा था, से रही थी and से रहे थे. This is the identification. and here main verb, because this is continuous, first form plus ing, first form plus ing, and helping verb had been. Now construction for this sentence is, वह सुबह से सो रहा था, सॉरी पढ़ रहा था. So how we would construct it? He had been studying since morning. So this is a particular point of time, morning, that is why we have used since here, and this is the construction for past perfect continuous tense. So we are done with past tense. Now next tense is future tense, and we'll start with future tense. Future means the work which is going to take place now, the work which will happen in the future. So the first tense is future indefinite. Let's have a look at it. Future indefinite tense. Future indefinite. Now what is the identification of future indefinite tense? In Hindi you can see ga, ge, gi. For example, हम जाएंगे. Now what is the main verb used here? First form of the verb, and helping verb will and shall. With I or we use will, or with I and we use shall, and with rest of the words, with the rest of the subjects we use will. Okay students, so this is the sentence here, and how to translate it? We, because with we use shall, so we will put here shall. We shall, first form of the verb go. How to make negative out of it? We shall not go. Interrogative, shall we go, question mark. So this is future indefinite tense. Now we'll start with the next tense, and next tense is future continuous. What is the identification of future continuous? In Hindi we see रहा होगा, रही होगी, and रहे होंगे. Now let's have a look at the rules, how to make a sentence for future indefinite in English. Hey, my main verb is first form plus ing, because this is future continuous, because this is continuous. With continuous we use always first form plus ing. Helping verb will be, shall be. With I and we use shall be, and with rest of the subjects we use will be. So let's have a look at the example. हम संडे को पिकनिक जाएंगे. Now how to translate it in English? We shall be going for a picnic on Sunday. This is affirmative sentence, and negative, we shall not be going. For a picnic on Sunday. Okay students, so this was future continuous. Now next tense is future perfect. Well, everyone wants future to be perfect. Now let's have a look how to make future perfect tense here. Future perfect identification would be चुका होगा, in Hindi चुका होगा, चुकी होगी and चुके होंगे. Here main verb would be, because this is perfect, third form of the verb, and helping verb would be will have, shall have. Sentence construction, वह जा चुके होंगे, वे जा चुके होंगे. It is a kind of prediction. They will have gone. This is affirmative sentence. Negative, they will not have gone. And interrogative, will they have gone? Question mark. So this is future perfect, and now next tense is, our last tense is future perfect continuous. Well, we do not use that much in English this tense, but still it is very much necessary for us to know, to understand what is future perfect continuous. Future perfect continuous. Identification is से रहा होगा, से रही होगी, and से रहे होंगे. This is the identification. If in Hindi sentence you see से रहा होगा, से रही होगी, से रहे होंगे, it means that this is future perfect continuous. Now how to translate it in English? Let's have a look at it here. Main verb, because this is continuous, first form plus ing. Helping verb, will have been and shall have been. Again the usage of since and for, since and for, with point of time and period of time. वह 2 महीने से तैयारी कर रहा होगा. Now here he, with he we will use will. He will have been preparing, first form plus ing. He will have been preparing for 2 months. full stop. So this is the way to make tense. I have taught you all the three tenses: present, past and future, and all the classifications of these tenses, and I hope you will practice these tenses, and after learning the tenses you have to speak, you have to follow it, you have to make it a practice, make it a habit to speak it in your day-to-day life, so that you will be an expert, so that you will be fluent in speaking English, because it is very much necessary in English when you speak to know the differentiation of the time. Until and unless you don't know the differentiation of time, you won't be able to speak a single word in English. So this is the differentiation in between the time, and we have learned these three tenses, and I hope you will follow the practice. Thank you, class.